another podcast, but we're giving it to you. Hi, everyone. Welcome to A Flow of Our Own.
I'm Tara.
I'm Laura. We're your new besties. Get into it.
And thank you for joining us.
So basically, we wanted to create a podcast or space to chat so we could just share our typical ramblings with you. But they're not just any ramblings.
We are two Black femme, queer femmes, that love to talk about anything and everything.
Anything under the sun is fair game with us, whether it's politics, culture, arts, happenings, movies, films, whatever, style. We're really into it, and we want to share our perspectives, our dope perspectives, dare I say, with all of you.
So we should tell them about who we are, what we do, and how we met.
All right, so let's call this an intro video. We're going to just break down who we are for you, let you know a little bit about us. Tara, you want to go first?
Oh, child. So I'm Tara. I'm an educator. I'm a youth worker. I'm an artist. I'm a menace. Those are the things.
Not a menace.
Those
True,
are the things. What about you?
I'm Laura, pronounced like turn the music, Laura. And I'm African-born, Cabo Verdean, like Tara said, queer, femme. I'm also a parent to baby Baldwin. A wife to Ariella Rothstein, shout out, fellow educator. She's also a librarian. And I'm a professor. I'm a cultural critic. I have a page where on social media and Instagram at my handle, Lauraberth Lima, where I love to share my perspectives on politics. And I'm an abolitionist. I really believe in breaking down the prison pipeline and imagining a new world. Really, abolition is about imagining a new world. So that's something I'm very interested in, thinking about what are the possibilities for the future, very future oriented. I think that's something that will be infused in our chats together. Like, what do we imagine a safer world looks like?
True, very true.
So one thing that's important to know about our podcast is that we do like a little bit of structure so that I can kind of hone in and balance all of the chaos of the chats that we're going to have. So one thing that we'll have every single podcast is question of the day.
So we'll always ask a question. It'll kind of be our grounding. And then we'll get into all the random things and deep subjects that we love to talk about.
And then we'll also have other segments throughout, like glimmers and simmers. And we'll just have other random cute sections that we'll bring up throughout. And we might not do the same ones every day, but we will always have the question of the day. Correct. So let's get into it. Question of the day.
So, like, why this podcast now? Why did we decide, like, this was the time to do this thing in the world?
Now, and no, nobody needs another podcast.
Right.
That should be the opening line. Honestly, I think we can all agree that the world is a little bit on fire, wouldn't you say? And, I mean, maybe some would argue it always has been, but I really feel in this pivotal moment, thinking about what just happened with the election, thinking about all that we're grappling with around gender and identity, thinking about safety, thinking about several genocides going on in the world. There's just so much to grapple with, while also trying to find pockets of pleasure and joy, because we know there's always joy, radical joy in the resistance. So I think that we really wanted to create a space to contextualize some of the things that are going on in the world right now, and also just have like a soft landing place for people to feel unfiltered and to really share perspectives that sort of align with some of our identity markers. Yeah. What about you?
I think also, like, we're in a different place in our lives.
Yeah.
You know, I think originally I was, like, very much in the school system.
Yeah.
And the thought of, like, ever doing a podcast, I was like, child, I do not want these kids to find
yeah,
out.
Absolutely.
What I do.
Privacy,
Like,
boundaries.
they'll be like, we saw your podcast. And I'm like, no. But I'm at a place now, I'm like, okay, I feel comfortable and safe enough to, like, just really be myself out in the world. And sharing who I am, and also just sharing the things that I care about with the person I care about. So it just felt like a good time to do it.
And might I say that you have incredible opinions and perspectives. I'm learning from Tara every single day. So I'm really excited to be doing this with you.
Yes. And also we're just two nerds.
We're two nerds. We like to go deep, right? Tolstoy said you could be the hedgehog or the fox in life. The fox is a person who likes to know a lot about different things, but the hedgehog is the person who goes really deep into all the details. I would say we're both.
Yes.
We like to know a lot of things about a lot of things.
Yes.
So we're here to share it all with you.
Mm-hmm.
I think another thing that we should mention is that we're also really close friends.
Yeah.
We've known each other for like 8 years, something like
8
that.
years,
8 years. So we've gone up and down in our friendships in different journeys and paths. And I would say every year our friendship gets closer and closer. And it's been like a really slow, deep, honest burn in our friendship.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we have a lot of trust built with each other.
Oh, for sure.
Not saying we're not going to get into it.
We don't agree on everything.
We don't agree on everything. Right?
But,
like, there's some... I'm not going to talk about that.
Okay, but like, even if we disagree with each other, we
do
still
it with respect.
each other. Like,
yeah,
we still
100%.
Okay.
100%.
Yeah.
So this is going to be great.
Yeah.
All right, so we're actually going to do a glimmer and simmer today. Glimmers are things that really make us smile, right? We think about triggers, and a glimmer is the opposite of a trigger. It's something that does not trigger you. It's something that makes you feel like, just bubbly and excited and joy. And then simmers are things that we really want to like simmer into. So let's start with a glimmer,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'll go into a simmer.
Yes.
So Tara, do you have a glimmer of the day?
Glimmer for me, I mean, it's like of the week, I guess you can say, is Doechie's Tiny Desk concert. I've been listening to it almost like every day.
Doechie's popping off right now.
I
People were sleeping.
I love Doechie. I love her style. I love her versatility. I love her dedication. I love that she knows who she is and is not afraid to be who she is. So I love the flow of the Tiny Desk. It was just like extremely done. I bought the vinyl because like I love her work.
Wait a second.
What?
This is an epic fail. This is going to contextualize this podcast in time. This is also another reason why we should be doing this podcast to demonstrate how mentally in sync we are. I, bought Tara a Christmas present and then go to her house. She already has it. So then I told her, and then I was going to buy her another one. Now we just found out, or I found out, and you're probably finding out in real time, that the second present I bought for Tara, she already bought for herself. Oh my God. Is it possible to buy you a present? I also got you the Doechie vinyl.
Why does he keep doing this? First of all, I've turned into my mom because my mom does this. I will be like, oh, what do you want for Christmas? Or what do you want for your birthday? And she'll be like, oh, I don't know. And then I'll try to like figure out something. And she'll be like, oh, I bought that. I'll be like, oh. So now I've turned.
And you turn into your mom.
I'm turning into my mom.
That's a good sign. This shows two things. One, that you know how to treat yourself.
Yes.
Case study on how to take care of yourself.
Yes.
Great. And two, that I'm also an excellent gift giver.
You are.
Because I got you two things you really wanted, but now I have to return that one. Unless you want two of it. I don't know.
I mean,
we'll figure this out.
We'll think about it. We'll talk about it. Yes.
Well, anyway, tell us more about Doechie.
Sorry.
I can't believe that happened.
This is so funny. But yeah, I just love her work. And so like I listen to the Tiny Desk like as I'm getting ready for my day. It feels like almost like I'm getting affirmations while I'm getting ready. So it feels good. It like fills me up.
I love that she's a conscious creator, rapper, lyricist. And she recently was talking about someone saying like, oh, like, why are you so political? Why are you so serious in your lyrics? And she kind of went back to the origins of hip hop. And she said, poetry and thought were the origins of this genre. And so I kind of wanted to go back to those roots. And what's the opposite, right? The opposite is doing something just for exploitation. If that's not genuinely who you are. If you want to be funny and silly, nothing wrong with that. But for her, she likes to be a critical artist. Yeah. So I think it's interesting that people are being critical of her being critical. Yeah,
but she also is like funny.
Yeah.
And she also is like entertaining. Like those parts of her don't disappear in her music. Yeah. So that's why I like the layers of it. It's not just like a one note type of artist. She's not a one note type of artist. Yeah.
Give it up for Doechie.
Yes, for sure.
All right, I'm trying to think of my glimmer recently. I think I need a minute though, because I want to make sure it's good. So we're gonna have a tea break. Okay. This is chai. That's.
I don't know what you gave me. Black tea.
Yeah. Tara requested only black tea. Okay. I want to acknowledge that my glimmer for this week is cleaning my home. Now, you may be saying, you don't clean your home? Is that not normal? Yes, I do. However, I do live in, I would say from New York City, a pretty comfortable apartment. Mm-hmm. Thank you, universe. Worked hard for that. But it's kind of big and it's hard to keep up with. On top of that, I have a toddler, a 2-year-old. So you can imagine, parents out there, you already know people with nibblings, the toys, everything, just keeping up with their little joy and magic around the house. It's a lot. Clothes, laundry, there's a million tasks. Who has the time? But recently, because the holidays are coming up, we celebrate Hanukkah, Christmas, New Year's, a lot of you too, Kwanzaa, yay. And we just started slowly cleaning up because we know we're gonna be having people over. We want it to be sweet and like happy and smelling good and joyful. We're not all the way there yet, but we really try to do kind of like a deep clean in terms of organizing our closets, just so everything is flowing and we're feeling good. I guess I didn't realize this. We probably also did it because the new year is coming.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And just trying to like reset, you know? So the closets was the first step. We really just like went through all of our closets and they're all really looking good right now. And then it's going to be like surface things, like just making sure the clutter's put away, you know, all of that kind of deep clean stuff that we're working on. And we like to do that every week. But sometimes, you know, like a couple weeks will go by, it's like life. So it feels so good to just be like everything's nice. And you forget about like how much clutter can impact you until it's gone. And then you're like sitting back and you're like, okay, it feels like luxurious in here. I was walking in the kitchen and there was like not a crumb on the counter. And I was like, woo, okay. And you would take that for granted, but when you have a toddler, you cannot. So I'm living my best cozy life right now. Look, I can actually see holiday cards out without like a diaper on the table. It's just amazing. So that's my glimmer, is like literally just walking into a house that's like organized and zen. It's like vibes.
Wait, I have another glimmer.
Oh yes, okay. More glimmers.
You know I love my Facebook Marketplace buy.
Oh my God, not Facebook Marketplace.
I love a deal.
Yeah, I love it so Facebook much. It's dangerous. You actually have to like.
You have to cut yourself
limit
off
yourself. Like
because
this is the spending limit.
You'll be like, wait, here's this random thing I never thought about having. And
it's sustainable because you're not like just buying more things. You're taking waste and repurposing.
Exactly.
So you feel good about yourself too.
Yes. So I been looking for a Peloton bike because I wanted to start. Okay,
by the way, Tara be working on her fitness. I'm her witness.
I feel like
you be Pilates.
I do be Pilates, but I don't feel like I don't work out like every. You know, people be like, I'm at the gym every day. Yeah. I am not. That's not my ministry.
That's BS. Every time I see you like or text you, you're like, yeah, I'm going to Pilates, and I'm in your house and you're like stretching on the floor with your leg over here. Like you have like one of those dumbbell things. That
the kettlebell.
Kettlebell. I don't even know the name of it. I'm a dancer, so none of that. I mean, I did have my dabble in weightlifting, but I don't know what that, like, Matilda principle thing is. You know what I'm talking about?
Not the Matilda principle.
The first hottie yachty. Did you have a crush on her when you were a kid?
No.
All right.
Okay,
so many rabbit holes. Bring it back.
Okay. But anyway, I found a Peloton bike for like $450. Got it yesterday.
That's it?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That thing's like $1,000 at least.
Exactly. So I felt like good. So I could start using.
So you're telling us your glutes are gonna be lit?
I mean, I just want to get back to like moving my body more. I don't walk. You know, I work from home now, so I don't like walk. As much as I used to. So I want to just start back to moving my body.
Is there a soundtrack to this? Move your body, girl.
No, not okay.
The way you ride it, girl.
Do you see
the way you ride it?
Okay, this is what happens. I mentioned something, and then Lauda started singing a song.
I'm telling you, there's a song for everything.
There's a song for everything. Now I'm probably watching my British murder mysteries that I like to watch.
Not the murder mystery. Don't invite me over for those. No. I will have a nightmare.
First of all, they're not like the true crime ones.
But still, then you start walking around your house like.
Okay, I don't. But I'll like ride my bike and I watch my British murder mysteries. And I forget. That's what I do.
All right, that's a good glimmer.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's so many glimmers. Oh, I have another glimmer.
Okay.
No, this one is not real because it's like, well, it shouldn't be a glimmer, but the weather yesterday was so beautiful. But it's global warming.
Yes.
So it's not like, ooh, global warming is definitely not a glimmer. But Just like it's nice when it's like freezing and then all of a sudden you have a little break and your bones feel like relax. You know, I'm an island gal. I was born in Cabo Verde, like in the archipelago of São Vicente, and I just like feel like when I go back to Cape Verde, my skin is just like I'm meant to be in warm, hydrated weather. Yes. So when it gets like a little warmer out, my body's just like happy. And then when I do like cold though, I'm not gonna lie. I love a sweater. Still grew up in New England, but I feel like when it gets warm out, I'm just like,
I hate winter.
You hate it?
I hate it.
You don't like the snow trickling? No. Chestnuts roasting?
I don't like none of that.
Damn. Well, we've got chestnuts for Christmas Eve. So.
I mean, I'm going to enjoy the Christmas Eve. I'm just saying I don't like cold weather.
Okay. Well, I feel you.
Okay.
Well, that's good then, because then we can go to the beach together.
Yes.
Come with me to Cape Verde.
Okay.
We're going in February.
First of all,
that's another glimmer. My family's going back to Cape Verde in February because my grandmother's turning 90. We're having a party.
Shout out to Granny. And I told you that that's too soon for me.
That's true. Okay, we got to plan that. Okay.
A lot of be like, let's do a trip tomorrow. And I'm like, wait, hold on.
The way my bank account's set up. I know, we got to save for all that. We got to save.
We got to plan ahead.
Plan ahead. Yeah. Yes. I had the 90s, or the 90 granny fund. So, Avo, we're coming for you. All right, so we did some glimmers.
Yes.
Let's take it into some simmers. So simmers are things that we have to kind of like think through. Yeah. They're not so straightforward. No. And it's like a yay or an A, but maybe there's some gray area in between. So I have one.
Okay.
All right. Wait, I don't think I want to do that one. Not for the intro. Okay. I just thought about it. I was gonna I was gonna do Luigi, but that's too deep for a first one.
No, it's not.
What do you? You don't think so?
I think you should do it.
Okay, Luigi Mangione. Is that how you pronounce it? Mangione.
Mangione.
Yeah, Mangione. I feel like he has stirred up so much controversy. He's obviously a person who murdered someone, but the question is for the simmer. Is the murder justified when he murdered someone who has been responsible for the death of countless people? And it was kind of resonating with me because somebody in my family who's a very young person actually needs a surgery right now. Like, it could be life-changing. This is like a toddler in my life, not my own, but someone who's very close to me. And the parents aren't able to make it happen right now because their deductible is too high. It's in the thousands. And so there isn't like any kind of way around it to say, well, this is a life-changing thing. Can we adjust it? Right? Like you just need to automatically pay thousands to meet the deductible. So for a lot of people, life-saving surgery or operations, procedures, medicine whatever, especially like diabetes medicine and everything, it can really be out of reach. And that's even just like life-saving, but then also thinking about even for me as a queer couple with my wife and thinking about like family making and how many times families are trying to evolve their families and reproductive support, medical support can be just like really not realistic for some people financially. So there's all kinds of considerations and connotations when it comes to the health medical industrial complex and how it really excludes a lot of people from basic rights. So the conversation has gotten really complicated. Like what typically if somebody just murders somebody, it's like wrong, right? Outright. But the internet disagrees because of this unique situation. I wonder, what do you simmer on this? What do you think?
I mean, I think what's coming up and what has been coming up a lot is the fact that a lot of people are looking at these people who are CEOs, who have a lot of money, who are making these big life decisions for the average person, and they're saying like, well, I don't want that person to be in charge of that. So it's been interesting because like it's not like super class consciousness in that way, but it's been interesting to see people on the quote unquote left and right agree. Like I'm not, I don't want to say not mourning, but like some people are saying they're not mourning the CEO's death because they're like, well, this is the person who like was holding back a lot of folks from getting the care they needed. So it's been interesting kind of seeing like the pundits conversation because people's reactions have been like, this is like, I feel not that it's justified, but like I understand
the anger.
Anger.
Yeah, it's not that you're justifying murder, but you can understand the feeling behind or the motive behind it.
Right. Because a lot of folks, like just about everybody we know has been in a situation where you go to the doctor or you're trying to get some medicine or you're trying to see a certain specialist and your insurance is giving you like all the runaround about it. So everyone relates to that.
Yeah,
in
absolutely.
Some sort of way.
So there's a few things going on here. There's this idea of unifying the left and the right. Everyone, middle class, working class people can get behind understanding the frustration with healthcare. And then also this idea of it's not about celebrating murder. It's about not mourning a bad person, not mourning a person with power, and the expectation and the performance of mourning someone who was actually not a good person.
Right, but I think it has people with power afraid.
Yep.
Because they're like, well, wait a second.
Could that happen to me?
Right. Could something happen to me, whether it's, somebody targeting me or just like a natural death? Yeah. And people would be like, well, it's whatever.
Yeah, like if in a natural situation, would people miss me? Of course your family would.
Right, of course.
But would the public ridicule me because of my legacy? Because you put in the world what you're getting back, right? Yeah. So it kind of brings me to this idea of like, what do we want to sow in this world? What seeds do we want to leave behind? What legacy do we want? And how do we want people to remember us? Right.
Well, I think also because like a lot of people who have money have thought that having money would mean that they would have a positive legacy. Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, I'll be remembered as like this really successful person. Yeah. And then now they're starting to be like, oh, maybe people won't see me that way. Maybe people will see my other actions and start to be like, ooh, like I don't like that or whatever. And I think that has some people a little shook.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely wouldn't want to be remembered for having this huge power role dynamic that control people's ability to live or not. That's not how I would want to go down. No. Yeah. No. I'd want to go down for the exact opposite. Like building life, making life possible, building community, networks, relationships, all of that. Yeah. Wow. Well, okay. Mangione. The people are out there celebrating you and wishing you well. And I think that's something that's worth considering, the contrast of how he's been caught and tried, or he's about to be tried, right? He's been charged with terrorism and murder. Yes. And thinking about what went down with Daniel Penny. Right. And, at the same time, Jordan Neely. Jordan Neely was a beloved subway performer, street performer here in New York City. He was a Michael Jackson impersonator. Just loved his family, was out here speaking with the recent verdict and sharing how much they loved him and how sad they are with the finding that what's his name, Daniel Penny, was not found guilty by the jury, which is very troubling because he did, in fact, everybody saw murder. Right, it was a public lynching essentially. Yeah. And again, it speaks to like this power. He, as a white man, cis white man, believed that he had the power to just take a life because he felt potentially a little threatened. Right. And a lot of people are infuriated by that because there's so many steps before death, right? And because he had been a trained, was he in the Marines? He was in the Marines. Yeah. He had been a trained Marine. He knows that a chokehold like that is potentially fatal and did it anyway. So thinking about what could have gone differently in that situation, thinking about why did he feel that he had the power to take a life knowing that that was the likely outcome? Why did he even feel threatened to that degree? What's the motives behind that? Well, we kind of know the motive behind that, which is that you see a black man, particularly a homeless black man, a houseless black man who is expressing frustration out of his situation, which Jordan Neely was doing in that moment before his death. And that in any time a black person is expressing their frustration, there are white people who feel threatened and who see like, oh, this person is going to like automatically even if the person is not even directing it at them, just to be in the vicinity of it. So he was basically murdered for being under a mental health duress and expressing frustration. Yes. And I think that many black folks, especially black femmes, I know I've experienced this countless times, are not afforded the opportunity to be publicly upset. No. Right? You can't be upset, you can't be depressed, you can't be anxious. Yeah, exactly. Any of those things. Oftentimes people are, especially in our positionality, because of how much we've been marginalized and experienced trauma as a result, and feel unsafe, we often do feel anxiety, but that anxiety is often interpreted as anger or upset or hostility, aggressiveness, right? And it's like, maybe we could just look at that person and be like, they're triggered, right? Or like that person's going through something, they're dysregulated in this moment. So we're not afforded the ability to be dysregulated. like we often do have to be perfect, or that results in a public confrontation, right? Whether you're going to the bank or you're going through TSA and at the airport,
or at your job,
especially at work,
even in your relationships with people sometimes.
And so we experienced that, and essentially that's what happened to Jordan Neely that day. He's having a mental health break, and he's seen as aggressive and loses his life. And so I think it just like draws attention to the fact that being Black, just existing, is a risk. And the verdict that Daniel Penny got off with nothing. Right.
And then is invited to
celebrate with Trump and Vance and all of them at the game, the football game recently.
Right.
It's just a disgusting display and the lack of humanity for Black life, right? So we're still, a lot of folks think like, oh, the movement has come so far, we've done so much, and that is true. Our ancestors worked really hard. Our generation has worked really hard, but there's still so much to be done. And that I feel like these two situations with two different white men and what they were up against and then how they were treated as a response.
But it's interesting because when Luigi was first, like, they were looking for him, they were describing him as a light-skinned man. So it was almost like this place of like, yes,
you're not white.
Like, you don't know if this person is for real white. Like, they might be light-skinned, which that could have been targeting, like, you know, folks of color, particularly men of color, out on the streets, right? And so I've been seeing this, like, interesting conversation, particularly among folks I know who are, like, Italian American, like, because we know at one point, you know, Italian Americans
were not considered white.
Right. And so it's going to be like, this is going to be the test.
No, yeah,
is
exactly.
If, like, your whiteness gets you enough leeway.
And some have argued it hasn't.
Right. And so I think there's this interesting conversation about, like, who is even white again.
Right? We've gone through this, like, when the Irish became white, read the book, all of that. And it does feel like that conversation's coming up again.
Yeah.
Oof, child. There's a lot going on. There's a lot to simmer on.
It's a lot to simmer on.
The verdict's kind of still out on that. Maybe we can do some reading and bring it back. But that is definitely a deeper simmer.
For sure.
Wow. Yeah. Any other simmers?
I feel like all of mine are deep as well. I don't have like
there's no non-deep simmer.
Okay,
here's a challenge for you.
Okay.
A non-deep simmer. Is there such thing? I think I have one actually.
Okay, wait. I might have one. Okay, so you know I've been like loving the Kendrick Drake situation.
Dude. Are you Team Kendrick or are you Team Drake?
Please don't be Team Drake. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm putting my
This may not be the podcast for you.
I'm saying you can like Drake's music.
That's true. You're always welcome here, but we might disagree.
Right. You can like Drake's music, but if you're like, Drake won the diss thing, I'm like,
so when you hear, I have to ask you then, when you hear they know.
I don't know this song.
They know. The real is on the rise.
So the fact that I don't even know the song.
Okay, that means nothing to you. Okay. I have to admit, I'm definitely Team Kendrick, but there's some Drake songs I'm just like, oh!
Well, a lot of people have said, like,
transports me.
They like Drake, there's like parts of Drake's music, and then over the years, it's like gotten
more watered down.
It's gotten like incel-ish. Like, it's gotten like him trying to be hard, him trying to relate to like a certain kind of man.
I'm light skinned, but I'm still a duck.
Right, like that kind of thing. And people are like, what is happening? What is going on? I thought Drake was like for the girls, you know? And so like, which is why I feel like this situation with Kendrick has like exploded, is because I feel like he's like trying to like
highlight the fact that you were on Degrassi and you grew up comfortable, right? And you're trying to be in a bracket or demographic that you're not,
right? Like. And it's just like, child, just make the music that...
Make your music for your girls. Let it be beautiful and sweet, but stop trying to come in this camp. If you come in this camp, you have to come in this camp, or we're coming for you, which is what's happening.
Basically, yeah. And then so people like seeing Kendrick now with this new album. Yeah. He's going on tour.
I heard people are like, they're like on the way back to LA with this album.
I mean, I think that's the interesting thing. Like, I'm not a music, like... expert in any sort of way. Yeah. But I think it's something interesting watching with Kendrick, because I think to me it's like the case for regionality. Yeah. Like the importance of being like, this is my city, this is my region, this is my roots.
The pride. Yeah. Like being really centered in where you're from. I feel like I was listening to the podcast, Let Me Say This, and Peyton was like from LA. It's like, I'm on the flight, called my friends, and it's like invoking that sense of pride and nostalgia and connectedness.
Yeah, and I think
people
just with art in general,
yeah,
the importance of the regionality of like, this is my culture, this is my thing, is so vital. And I feel like because we've had such like a quote unquote global expansion over the years, I think some people have lost that.
Yeah.
Some artists have been like, oh, I got to appeal to like all these different things and all different people. And Kendrick is like, no, I'm from Compton, I'm from California, I'm from the West. Like, I'm always gonna rep that. And I think it's almost like a way for folks to really at the moment be like, oh, maybe I can do that too. Maybe I can be who I am and be rooted in who I am. Yeah, and like that can still get me connected to other people. It's kind of like, I feel like I'm paraphrasing, but Lorraine Hansberry talked about with the Raising the Sun, like being specific is also a way to be universal. Like, it doesn't mean that you have to make something watered down, like not yourself, but by being specific to your experience or the experiences of the characters or whatever that you're making, then other people can find a way to relate to
That's so beautiful. That gave me like chills, because it's so true that what you're experiencing, if you go deep and you're real, then somebody will connect to that.
Exactly.
If you try to do anything watered down, be somebody you're not, you're kind of giving like a half authentic version.
Yes.
It's harder for people to connect.
Yeah.
And that's why people believe stories when you're like, oh, I don't know if I believe that person, but we believe it when the person's specific.
Yes.
Because you're like, you can't make, that's so specific, you can't make that up. Like, you would have to be a really good poet or writer to fake something like that. Exactly. So being yourself is always about being true to those unique experiences. All right, we keep it at 100. All right, so that's why the case for Kendrick.
Yes.
So we can't say that for Drake.
No.
Because Drake is kind of like slightly appropriating, some people would say.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I like
shots fired. Okay, Luigi.
There are some Drake songs that I think are cute.
Yeah.
Right? But do I think Drake is authentic all the time? No. And I do think that if he spent time really diving into himself, I think he could really
get there. So maybe that's the evolution of Drake. So Drake, you're welcome for this advice.
You're not gonna take it.
Be more specific, be more real.
You're not gonna take it.
Evolve into the next level, you know?
No.
And then people will ride with you. People will keep on your train with you.
He's not gonna take it.
He's not going to.
He's gonna be like, anyway,
we're gonna title this podcast "Advice for Drake."
This is an intervention for Drake.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, but no, I also love Kendrick's album. I've listened to it a lot.
Okay, maybe we need to like play. Oh no, we didn't. YouTube, we don't got the rights.
We don't have the rights. We listen to it after we are done and listen to it. But I feel like I really want those concert tickets. And I was like, child, this is not in my budget.
Yeah.
People have started calling Kendrick Beyonce because him and Beyonce be like, here's a concert. And people be like, I'm not ready. I'm not ready.
Beyonce. I didn't even know that was a movement. Thank you for enlightening the people.
You're welcome. It's like a whole thing where people are like, Kendrick and Beyonce, they release these albums. They're amazing. They're like, I'm going on tour. And people be like, what? So I feel like I was like, Kendrick, I wasn't ready for it. It's not my budget. I'm gonna have to see what happens.
Just like you're not ready for Cape Verde. We need you to get ready for Kendrick first, then Cape Verde.
I need like travel and concert like savings.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just for that.
Yeah, you have to sell the Peloton back.
Right. Like the Peloton's gotta go. I'm so sorry. I gotta get these.
Okay, if you met Kendrick, what would be the first thing you did?
First of all, I don't know if I can. I feel like I would be like,
I know. Sometimes it's like the fan moment.
I would just want to be in the audience.
Just
like,
enough.
That's enough.
I know they do say don't meet your.
I mean, I've met people that like, and I like them, but I feel like if it was like, oh, I wouldn't know what to say. I'd be like, hello.
I like your music.
I hope you're well.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like awkward.
I had a dream I was in the bathroom with Rihanna last night. And I couldn't say anything, but somebody else was like, oh, where'd you get your shoes? And it was like so natural.
Yeah, I don't feel like I'd be natural.
Yeah.
I feel like I could only be natural if we were like in like a chill setting. If we were like in a chill setting, then like maybe
lounging somewhere out.
Yeah, but if it was like a meet and greet kind of situation, I'd be like, I don't even know what to say. I'm gonna just take the picture and walk away. That's all I could do.
All right, y'all. So we've taken you through our podcast, Why Now, a little bit about us. We did some glimmers, some simmers. We did the question of the day. And we're going to wrap it up here.
Yes.
I feel like it's a good place.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you watching. Make sure you subscribe so you can stay up to date with our episodes. And we are also on Instagram at A Flow of Our Own. Please give us a follow. And yeah, that's
pretty much it. See you later.
Are you gonna do like
every
this?
time?
I'm not singing.
You're gonna see my singing evolve, my non-singing skills.
We're gonna have to get you in the class. That's gonna be one of our episodes.
Okay, ready?
Yes.
1, 2, 3. What was that?
You're doing this.
Like it's real. Like it's gonna be a placeholder.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Ready?
All right.